Hi everyone, and welcome to Two-Player Quest. Today we're going to be reviewing Rone Invasion. Rone is a dice and deck building game in which you customize your dice and your decks to defeat your enemies. Let's get into it. A game of Rone will take you about 90 minutes. It is a game for 1 to 2 players in the base game. There are expansions that you can add to get it for 3 or 4 players, but you do have to buy those separately. Complexity-wise, it's at a 3 on Board Game Geek of 3.00, which is the first time I've seen 00. But anyway, meaning it's light to medium or just about a medium game. The game can be played cooperatively or competitively, so that is a bonus. And when it comes to luck, it is a very luck-based game. Be it the dice you're rolling, the cards you are drawing from your deck, or the cards you are drawing from the recruitment deck, it is very luck-based. This is what our game looks like after 3 rounds of the game. As you can see, there's a lot of cards, a lot of dice upgrades, and a lot of fun had. This is what the invasion board and one of the player boards will look like, well, could look like at the start of a 2-player co-op game. The main difference between the co-op game and the competitive game in gameplay is that in a competitive game, the players take turns with taking their turn, and in a competitive game, the players together take their player turns, and then comes the invasion turns. So I will be starting with the explanation for the cooperative game. So I'm going to start with the invasion's turn. On the invasion's turn, you increase the time elapsed, which is this little bubble here. Then you start by deploying the invasion cards. So, when playing with the invasion board, you deploy cards equal to the amount of players plus the amount of protocols in play. In this case, there are 2 protocols, and that's these 2. So, we deploy 4 cards. We take 4 cards off his deck. I have the base card here, and you add the cards like so, and do what it says on the card to deploy it. In this case, it says when deployed, the invasion gains 1 blue resource, and you add said resource. You can make this game easier or harder by gaining a different amount of support. At this point, we'll be playing it on the easiest setting. And you continue doing this until you've played the 4 cards. The invasion recycles 1 card. At the moment, there is nothing in his discard pile or his garbage dump, so he cannot recycle cards. And that may or may not have a card. And 1 last black one. I put that on the wrong colour. There we go. Next, he trains invasion cards. On all these invasion cards at the top, they all have a number on them. If you reach that many resources on that card, that is when he can train the cards. Then he refreshes the protocols if they has no technology tokens, which are these tokens here, and then he uses his protocols. In this case, we do these 2. That is the end of the invasion's turn, and then it is the player's turn. As the player, you start by drawing some cards from your deck there. You can draw as many cards as you would like. So in this case, let's say I draw these cards, these 4. In the top left, you can see the cost of the card. So a question mark is a joke tag, a blue, and a black. So and this one is free. These are the 4 cards we decide to keep. Then comes the roll phase, in which you roll the dice. As you can see, we have a black, a green, and a yellow. So then we grab the resources, a black, a green, and a yellow, And we like to do it this way so we can easily figure out what we're putting where. Then we look at the cards that we have. And here you can see we can play this one for free because it has no paid cost. We have a black, that was this one, to play with that black token. And we have a question mark, which you can pay with any colour. And then there's one more that we haven't paid. In this case, we'll use the green to pay for the question mark. And then we have one yellow left and one card that we haven't played. After doing all the things stated on your cards, you store resources. So in this case, we store the resource on this one card that we haven't played, which is one blue, and the one yellow that we haven't played either. And then you store those on your game mat for a later point. Next is the damage phase. On the cards, it will show you how much damage it does. These do, for example, 2 damage and 1 damage. There are also red damage dealers, as you can see in the top there. In this case, we have 4 damage, so we could not defeat the top card, as it has 3 HP and 2 armor, and we have no armor pierce, meaning we will take all the damage in just a moment. But the next step is using the spare parts. So on the bottom of your cards, you will see these little symbols, sort of spanners. So in this hand, we have a total of 3 spanners, and you can read on your board here what you can do with those spanners. For example, you can upgrade one of your dice that we have here and add a colour of your choice. So I will take out one of these grey ones and add in another green one, because that's what I want in my dice. I would like another green one. There we go. And now this dice has all the normal colours, but 1 extra green, meaning it's easier for me to get green resources. You can also recruit new cards, in which you grab new cards from the deck and add them to your training zone up here. You can gain new technologies, or you can gain extra screws to train your recruits. Once that's done, you clean your card zone, meaning the 4 cards that you played, you put those back in, the 3 cards you paid, my apologies, you put them back in whatever order you would like into your discard pile. Because recycling works from top to bottom, put the ones you would like to recycle, if possible, at the top. The 1 card you did not play goes into your garbage dump. Once that's done, if you have any trainable recruits at the top here that have completed their training, meaning you've paid the cost stated on the lower right corner, there, this is when you train those cards and they get added to your discard pile. And that is a play round. So a normal 2-player game competitively would be 1 player does their actions and does their turn, and then the next player does their actions and does their turn, and you keep going until 1 player is out of HP and out of armor. And in cooperative game, you do this first the invasion, then the players' turns, and both players play at the same time. Rone is a very easy game to learn. If you're an experienced board gamer, I would give it 10 minutes to learn to play this game. The basics are so easy. If you're an inexperienced board gamer, maybe 15 to sort of get the hang of it, but even then, it is a very easy game to learn. I would suggest Rone to, or basically anybody who loves deck builders, but also those who like a deck builder to not reset after every game. This game has a bit of a campaign element in it, meaning you can choose to take your deck to the next game, or when you're playing a campaign, you take your deck to the next game. Meaning all the changes you've made to your deck and the changes you've made to your dice affect the next game. So you can really see the impact these changes that you've made can have. And that's something we really like in this game. We like Rone as a game. We are finding out what works for us when it comes to house rules and what doesn't. We broke the game the first time we played it, and after conferring with the creator, we're not doing anything wrong. We just broke the system. I won't go into much into what this game-breaking mechanic is, but know it only applies in the co-op game. Despite having broken the system, we still very much like this game, so it will be staying in our cupboard. We're just finding out what house rules work best for us to keep this game enjoyable without breaking it. Oh, and we really like the dice. If you haven't seen it properly, I will show you in the video. It has these screws and you get screwdrivers. Unfortunately, because the base game is only 1 to 2 players, we haven't really played this game with more than 2. So I can't really give you extra information on that one in this video. My apologies. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching our review of Rone Invasion. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, put them in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. I look forward to seeing you next time on 2 Player Quest.